Google has officially moved us beyond the chatbot era. I know we hear a lot of marketing hype every May, but after watching the 2-hour Google I/O 2026 keynote, the paradigm shift is undeniable. We are no longer just prompting text boxes and hoping for a good code snippet. We are orchestrating autonomous digital workers. Google announced they are now processing over 3.2 quadrillion tokens a month, fueled by their new TPU 8T and 8i silicon architectures. The sheer scale is difficult to wrap your head around, but today we aren't talking about scale for the sake of it. We are breaking down the concrete developer tools that will actually change how you write, architect, and deploy software this year. We are covering the blistering speed of Gemini 3.5 Flash, how the new Antigravity 2.0 platform literally built a working operating system in 12 hours, and the somewhat terrifying always-on capabilities of Gemini Spark. We are also going to look at what Google didn't tell us on stage, put these new models in a head-to-head comparison with OpenAI and Anthropic, and analyze who should be sweating right now. If you write code, design systems, or just want to know where the industry is moving, grab a coffee. The workflow you used yesterday is about to change. Let's start with the brain of the operation, the new Gemini 3.5 family, specifically Gemini 3.5 Flash. For the last couple of years, the AI race was obsessed with raw parameter count, but Google realized something crucial. If an AI is going to act as an agent, meaning it loops through code, runs tests, reads lint errors, and refactors autonomously, it doesn't need to be a slow, lumbering genius. It needs to be blindingly fast. Because of their new TPU 8i inference chips, Gemini 3.5 Flash operates at 4 times the output speed of other frontier models, and is not sacrificing quality for that speed. It scored a massive 76.2% on the Terminal Bench 2.1 coding evaluation. Think about what this means in practice. Let's say you're a computer science student in Morocco building a point-of-sale app for a local stationery shop. You're using Flutter for the cross-platform UI and Django for the backend. Historically, you'd ask an AI for boilerplate, copy it over, fix the routing, and manually map out the object-oriented architecture. Now, you use Flash as a high-speed execution engine. You give it the architecture, and it writes, tests, and refactors thousands of lines of code in the time it takes you to review the pull request. You elevate your role from typist to senior architect. This brings us to the single most insane demo of the event, Antigravity 2.0. Google didn't just release a fast model, they released the harness to control it. Antigravity is an unabashedly agent-first development platform. It's available as a standalone desktop app, an SDK, and a CLI for those of us who prefer to stay in the terminal. During the keynote, Google proved its capability with a massive challenge. They asked Antigravity to build the core framework of an operating system from scratch. The platform spun up 93 parallel sub-agents. One agent was writing memory management, another was handling file systems, another writing tests. In 12 hours, they built a functional OS core using 2.6 billion tokens, all for under $1,000 in compute costs. And just to show off, they tried to run Doom on it. It failed because it lacked keyboard drivers, so they prompted Antigravity live on stage, the AI wrote the driver, compiled it, and the game ran. As software engineers, we have to respect this. Multi-day engineering efforts are collapsing into hours. The CLI natively exposes your build tools to the agents, meaning the AI can finally see compilation errors and fix them before you even intervene. Moving away from code for a second, let's talk about the creative stack. Google announced Gemini Omni, their new multimodal world model. For a long time, generative AI was heavily fragmented. You had text models, image generators, and audio generators all duct taped together in a fragile pipeline. Omni collapses that stack. It is natively multimodal in both input and output. It accepts text, audio, images, and video simultaneously and outputs high-quality, physics-aware video or audio directly. If you are a developer who spent the last 2 years building custom pipelines around different generative APIs, Omni is a wake-up call. It's a vastly superior developer experience, but it also firmly anchors your creative applications into Google's ecosystem. The consolidation of AI tooling is happening fast. Now let's look at the enterprise and consumer side. Google introduced Gemini Spark, a cloud-based personal agent that runs 24/7 in the background. Instead of you opening a chatbot to ask a question, Spark monitors your digital life asynchronously. Google showed demos of Spark identifying a critical IT issue in an inbox, drafting an escalated Jira ticket, recalculating project timelines in Google Sheets, and staging an incident report, all without human intervention, just waiting for a final approval click. It's incredibly powerful, but it fundamentally changes our relationship with software. We are no longer using apps, we are managing digital employees. But here is where I want to respect your intelligence, because keynote stages are built for best case scenarios. Let's talk about what Google didn't say. First, the cost of always on. Running persistent background cloud compute to constantly monitor inboxes requires an astronomical amount of processing power. Google quietly announced a new AI Ultra subscription for developers that costs $100 a month just to get higher usage limits in Antigravity. The token drain for autonomous agents is going to catch a lot of developers by surprise. If you build a bad loop, your API bill is going to explode. Second, hallucination guardrails. Spark sounds amazing, but Google glossed over the error rates for agents managing automated emails and Jira tickets. If an agent hallucinates a timeline while you're asleep, who is liable? Finally, deprecation. With Omni acting as a unified stack, Google sidestepped the future of legacy models like Imagine. If your startup relies on those specific endpoints, you need to start planning your migration path today. Let's cut through the noise and look at the actual data. How does Google's new stack compare to OpenAI and Anthropic right now, in May 2026? Gemini 3.5 Flash hits 76.2% on Terminal Bench 2.1. It is directly beating Claude 4.7 Opus and trading blows with GPT 5.5. But here's the kicker. Flash is 4 times faster at generating output tokens. If you are running an anti-gravity setup with 50 sub-agents, cost matters. Flash is vastly cheaper than GPT 5.5 and Claude for long horizon tasks. OpenAI has great standalone tools and Anthropic has Claude Code. But Google just released the Antigravity CLI, which natively hooks into Android Studio and Google Cloud infrastructure. For enterprise, that deep vertical integration is hard to beat. If you want the absolute deepest philosophical reasoning, you might still wait for Gemini 3.5 Pro or stick with Claude. But for high volume agentic software engineering, Flash just became the most economically viable brain on the market. So, did Google just reset the AI race? Let's look at the blast radius. OpenAI needs to be worried about pricing and speed. Google is pitching enterprise customers that switching from GPT 5.5 to Flash can save massive amounts of money at scale. Microsoft faces a massive threat. GitHub Copilot is entrenched, but Google's anti-gravity ecosystem allows you to build architectures without even opening an IDE. Deep workspace integration is a direct attack on Office 365 Copilot. Apple is focusing on edge compute, but Spark's 24/7 cloud execution is a major utility threat. And Meta should be watching Gemini Omni closely as a formidable tool for creators. Meta has invested heavily in generative media, and Omni's native ability to ingest and output across all modalities makes it a huge wake-up call. The tools are here, the APs are live. We are shifting from manual syntax entry to intelligent governed execution. The engineers who thrive this year won't be the fastest typists, they will be the best system orchestrators. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. Are you planning to integrate these new agent swarms into your workflow? Make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching. Respect the craft, keep building, and I'll see you in the next one.